Cities on the East Coast are grappling with the devastating impact of Ida tonight. The storm system inundated communities with historic flooding, tornadoes, and shut down transportation. At least 40 more deaths have been linked to the storm system since it struck with new fury yesterday, a dozen of them in New York City. In Louisiana, state officials say there were 4 more deaths of nursing home residents who were evacuated before Hurricane Ida first hit. State officials were turned away from inspecting the facility where they were relocated. Hundreds of thousands of people remained without power 4 days after Ida first landed as a hurricane. Robbie Chavez, who is the NewsHour's communities correspondent in New Orleans, has our report.
Oh my God, this is terrible.
Remnants from Hurricane Ida brought historic and catastrophic flooding across the Northeast. The National Weather Service office in New York issued its first ever set of flash flood emergencies in the region late yesterday. Inundated buses in New York City had passengers standing on their seats. Rainfall poured into apartment complexes. Others had floodwaters waiting to burst through their doors. People in Brooklyn waded through knee-deep waters. And some were trapped by bursting floodwaters in the city's subway stations. All services were suspended due to flooding in the stations and tracks. The destruction became more apparent as daylight broke. Cars were left stranded in streets now transformed into swollen rivers.
You interfere with the rivers, this is what happens all the time. And they've spent millions to fix them, and you can't. Mother Nature has its own way of handling it.
New York Governor Kathy Hochul spoke about the devastating rainfall, which surpassed records set during Tropical Storm Henri just 11 days ago.
Because of climate change, unfortunately, this is something we're going to have to deal with great regularity.
New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio described it as a wake-up call.
From now on, what I think we do is tell New Yorkers to expect the very, very worst. It may sound alarmist at times, but unfortunately, it's being proven by nature.
Harsh winds and flash floods also pummeled New Jersey late yesterday. Newark Airport was evacuated and all flights were canceled. The storm also triggered tornadoes in the mid-Atlantic, destroying multiple homes. Earlier today, New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy toured a neighborhood in Mullica Hill. It was badly damaged.
An extraordinary, sadly tragic, historic 24 hours in New Jersey. There's no other way to put it.
The record-breaking rainfall also severely hit Pennsylvania, including significant flooding in Philly proper, Wilmington, Delaware, and areas across Maryland. In Louisiana, some positive news. Power was restored in the French Quarter today, as well as for some neighborhoods in eastern New Orleans.
When the power went back on, it felt so good. AC, you know, because I was suffering without no AC, and we just enjoyed it.
But more than 800,000 people in Louisiana are still without power, making fuel a necessity for survival. New Orleans Mayor LaToya Cantrell.
We just have not received adequate fueling services to the general public, but we're continuing to push out that need. And when we get more, we will share more.
Long lines formed at gas stations. Some waited over 7 hours in their cars to get to the pump.
Every storm gonna always be tough, you know, but we strong black people, you know, this what we survive. We survive stuff like this. Katrina's ain't stop us. This one ain't gonna stop us.
At the White House, President Biden said the Strategic Petroleum Reserve will be used in order to reduce gas shortages.
The region hit by Ida is the key center of our nation's oil production and refining infrastructure. We're moving already, quickly, to increase the availability of gas and easing the pressure on gas prices around the country.
The president will travel to Louisiana tomorrow. Meanwhile, high temperatures in the region are adding to an already tumultuous situation.
It's just miserable, and the older you get, the harder it is to deal with the heat.
Buses are used as cooling centers. The food is passed out to those who've had to throw out food from their fridge. For hard-hit communities in Louisiana and Mississippi, more work lies ahead. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Robbie Chavez.
As we just saw, flooding remains particularly bad in parts of the Northeast and the Mid-Atlantic tonight, including in the Philadelphia area. Let's turn to the city's fire commissioner, Adam Teal. Commissioner Teal, thank you so much for talking with us. It sounds like you were not expecting anything like this that happened last night.
Well, we had an inkling. We talked with the Weather Service yesterday, and certainly they talked about the forecast and the potential for major flooding. We didn't think we would become close to breaking a record that was set in 1869, and that's what happened. We almost hit that 17-foot record. The normal stage for the Schuylkill River was around 5.7 feet, so pretty significant flooding.
So what exactly are you coping with? What have you had to deal with?
Well, we made a lot of water rescues overnight. Our very dedicated firefighters, medics, assisted by police officers, a lot of different organizations pitching in. I think all told, we've rescued more than 100 people. We had National Guard soldiers here today with high water vehicles, people, pets. That was really the overnight. A lot of folks who drove their vehicles into flooded roads, certainly something we don't recommend. We had some buildings we had to evacuate last night from the rising waters. And then today we're actually still doing water rescues out there, despite the fact that it's sunny, but we're also evacuating buildings that have their infrastructure somewhat compromised by the floodwaters.
What do you mean by that, compromised?
Well, we have buildings that are losing power. You know, a lot of high-rise buildings have their generators and other things in the basement, all of their electrical switching gear. And when the water gets in there, it tends to short those things out. So we're starting to have to evacuate some pretty large buildings. We still have 2 reception centers open across the city, and we're probably going to be turning one of those into an overnight shelter for folks who don't have anywhere else to go tonight.
Is there more that you think in retrospect that could have been done to get Philadelphia ready for this?
You know, I'm really thankful that we did lean forward. We put extra water rescue teams on standby. Our Urban Search and Rescue Task Force got back just in time from a federal deployment in Alabama for Ida to be able to help us here and in one of our neighboring counties. Thankfully, we never ran out of resources, even during the peak last night when we had rescues going on all around the city. Had we not leaned forward in that way, however, we would have run out of resources. That said, you know, we're really seeing this historic flooding. We've seen tornadoes in the city already this year. So it seems apparent to us that the weather is changing. We're having more and more severe weather events. And that's something I think we all need to be thinking about as we resource going forward.
No question about it. And what about in terms of infrastructure? I was reading about aging sewer systems in Philadelphia. We know that's the case in many cities around the country. What is that saying to you?
You know, if you put 17 feet of water into a system that's designed for 5, you're always going to have problems. Really seeing this amount of water in the Schuylkill River, a lot of other places around the city flooded as well. It's just not something that is supposed to happen. Seeing tornadoes in Pennsylvania is not something that's supposed to happen. So I really do think we need to be considering our infrastructure, considering our resources, because the weather patterns, whether it's wildfires in California, we see our colleagues out there doing that. We're here doing floods. It's affecting all of us.
And are there steps, finally, that you think you should be taking now just to be prepared in case there's another storm like this in coming weeks, months?
Well, again, we're very fortunate that we are well-resourced. We're a large fire department, more than 3,000 very dedicated women and men. So we didn't run out of resources. We had more people to call. We had folks here at work. We had all the tools and equipment that we needed. That's not true for every fire department around the country. I do think we need to be considering our response until the time that we can get all of our infrastructure where it needs to be, and we're really more prepared as a society for these severe weather events.
Adam Teal, who is the commissioner for the fire department for the city of Philadelphia, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Judy. Stay safe.